Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are live. Yes, we are live. We haven't been live for a couple of days now. It's been quite a few days. It's been quite a few days. I mean, we've put out some videos and some things of that nature. But hey, ladies and gents,
lock and load.
We are ready to go. I hope you guys are as well.
Lock and load.
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 That's a good sound effect, isn't it? That is a good sound effect. Fabulous sound effect, if you ask me. Double checking to make sure the stream is up and running, which it looks like it is. It is looking quite fascinating as well. So I am excited to be here today. Now, I appreciate everybody that comes in and says hello in the stream here and stops by, says, hey, how you doing? How is everything? Make sure you guys do me a huge favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That'd be greatly appreciated. I do talk about a wide variety of different topics and subjects and all sorts of different things that we like to discuss on this channel here. And yeah, it's just, you know, I didn't really have much of an agenda here today. We did title the live stream. We said that, why is everybody so angry nowadays? Have you ever stopped to think, like, what the hell is going on? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell is actually really going on in the world that causes people to be so unhinged? And you just have to sit back and ask yourself, what is wrong? Like, is everybody good? Dawn's in the house as well. Yes. Dawn is here. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the live stream. Yes. So, like I said, I don't have much of an agenda, but I wanted to title the stream, it's just, what is wrong with people and why is everybody so unhinged? Now, when we go live on this channel, I usually always leave the live and unhinged part because we are live, and some of the things we do talk about on this channel, we tend to be unhinged, and we tend to say things that are unpopular. We tend to say things that don't really resonate with a lot of people because we have opinions and we think differently, and we tend to, you know, maybe rub some feathers and what's that saying? Shuffle some feathers and rub people the wrong way based on your thought process on everything. And that usually tends to get people all riled up and not so happy with you. But my motto's always been, you know what? If you say something to make somebody upset, that just means I'm doing a good job. And it gets a reaction out of you, whether it's good or bad, if you support me or not. And that's totally fine. But I wanted to talk about the subject of today's topic. What is wrong with people lately? You ever stop to think about that just for a minute, especially nowadays in this day and age? You have to sit back and just kind of, if you're paying attention to what's going on, then you can't help but the fact that just, if you take a look around, just go outside, go out in public, go to the grocery store, go to the park, go to anywhere. Watch the news. Watch just how people react to things, especially if it's very controversial stuff like politics, sports, drama, even entertainment, just anything in general that people either have an opinion on or passionate about, depending upon what it is and what you say and what you hear. Just take a look and see what people's reactions are to those specific things. What's up, Patty? How's it going? How's it going? From Indonesia. Wow, Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen. All the way from Indonesia? What time is it in Indonesia? Guy Love, what's happening, my man? What's going on? Welcome to the chat as well. I did not forget about you. Welcome, welcome. Yes, I appreciate you being here. We don't have, like I said, we're just kind of sitting back here today. I don't have any other videos or anything to really talk. I mean, we could discuss a lot of different things. And I didn't have a planned agenda other than talking about just what's happening in the world. In the world. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, absolutely. You are very welcome. So let me just kind of read some things here and just let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So what is wrong with people lately? What is wrong with people? I mean, seriously, though. Have you gone outside? And like I mentioned, go outside. Have you gone outside or just even opened social media or just stood in line at the store or any of that stuff and felt like something is off? Have you ever had that feeling? Like the tension in the air is thicker than it used to be. Like everyone's one bad comment, one delayed order, or one wrong opinion from just completely losing it. You ever get that feeling? I don't care where you go. You just look at just look at the face of people. Look at their facial expressions. They look unhappy. They just look mad all the time. And it feels like the world is on edge. Like patience has become a rare source. Like basic decency is starting to feel old-fashioned. Everywhere you look, someone's angry. And that's true. Everywhere you look, somebody's pissed off. Somebody's angry about something. Someone's offended. I think more people are more offended nowadays than ever. It's not hard to trigger people. It's not hard to get somebody to get upset about something. Someone screaming into their phones, arguing at a parking lot, or starting a war in the comment section over something like, I don't know, that happened 10 years ago or something. And if it happened 10 years ago, it wouldn't even register as a problem based on some of the stuff that people are talking about today, and all of a sudden it's an issue. The internet isn't a conversation anymore. It's a battleground. It really is. Nobody's listening. Nobody's talking. And the volume just keeps going up every single time. You scroll for 5 minutes and it's outrage after outrage on social media. You scroll through Facebook. You scroll through X. You scroll through YouTube videos. You might come across somebody's stream like yours truly. And you won't find outrage from me, but you might find outrage elsewhere, just on social media in general. Public meltdowns, people destroying their careers for attention. I mean, how often have we seen that nowadays? How often have we seen people literally destroy themselves career-wise just over the last month or over the last 6 months? Remember when Charlie Kirk was shot and tragically assassinated? Do you remember the absolute outrage from both sides of the aisle? Some were more supportive than others. And then you had the unhinged craziness of people supporting that And we're totally fine with that, with him tragically losing his life. And those individuals that were saying those things usually were the ones that were literally financially destroying their careers by saying such awful, just hideous things about Charlie Kirk when he passed away. That's just an example. Or all the things that are going on with ICE and people in the medical field saying stuff that's getting them fired and just destroying themselves. And for what? Because they're angry. People are angry. They're angry at themselves, or they're angry at something, and they're just so quick to be triggered and upset. And you also see strangers fighting over nothing. Entire communities are tearing each other apart over opinions. And you see that day in and day out. Nobody can agree with anybody about anything anymore. And if you disagree with somebody's opinion about something, you're a homophobe, you're a racist, you're a complete total idiot. You're this, you're that, because you disagree with my politics or whatever it is, right? So you see a lot of that nowadays. You really do. And what's really strange is a lot of it feels performative. Like, people aren't just angry. They want to be seen being angry. They want likes. They want shares. The validation, the mob behind them. Rage has become a form of currency online. And that's true. The louder you are, the more attention you get. So the more crazy that you are, the more unpredictable that you are, the more of attention that you're going to see online. And that's true. That is 100% true. But it isn't just the internet anymore that you're seeing this on, right? I mean, the bulk of it is on the internet, social media, and things of that nature. But you see it in everyday life. You see it in traffic every morning. You see it in the stores, grocery stores, shopping store, anywhere. You see it in the stores. You see it at work. You see people become like this at work sometimes. You even see it within your own immediate family. You see it just in families. Family members get pissed off because you voted Democrat versus Republican, or how could you have done so and so like that, and now they hate you for it. Usually families get torn apart based on who you vote for, which is really sad, and it shouldn't be like that. But you see it. It's there. It happens all the time. Small problems, though, turn into explosive arguments. So minor disagreements become personal attacks. How often does that happen in your everyday lives? Everyone's walking around like they're carrying a match, just waiting for an excuse to light something on fire. And you see that every day. Turn on the news, and you'll see it all over the place. The news does not make money on giving you good and happy news. Like, wow, what a relief. That's great. That's great news. No, they make their money along with social media too. A lot of people make their income giving you bad news, because violence sells. Chaos sells. That's what keeps people's attention span to pay attention. People don't want to look at all the happy stuff going on in the news. They want to see all the bad stuff, because that's drama. That's more entertaining than hearing about somebody doing something good for humanity. Most of the time, people don't care about that, and they should, but they don't. So you see the bad. That is what people are more interested in. And the question is, when you think about this, how did we get to that point as a society, as a country, and not just in our country, all over the world. You know, how did we get to this point? And if I had to choose, I would say the United States. How did we get there in the first place? When did being calm become suspicious? When did being reasonable become boring? When did every conversation turn into a competition to see who could be the most outraged? And you see that on the news every day. Talk shows, radio hosts, podcasts. You see it all the time. And sports even too. You see it. It feels like somewhere along the line, we lost the ability to disagree without hatred. We lost patience. We lost perspective. And maybe we lost a little bit of our sanity too along the way. So tonight we're going to kind of talk about it a little bit. The constant outrage, the public freakouts, the internet mobs, the keyboard warriors that you see that come in and you know, disagree with you and just say some hideous things about you. They don't even know you as a human being. They just see you there. And then they judge you based on appearance. I'll be the first to tell you that you look at me and you see the backwards hat, you see the sunglasses on, the headphones, the Freedom by Under Armour shirt here. You see the word freedom, and people lose their minds. This country isn't free. It's free. Trust me. Go live someplace else if you don't think this is a free country. And mind you, by the way, celebrities are starting to come back to America. They are. Ellen DeGeneres, Ellen DeGeneres, whatever her last name. Ellen DeGeneres, is that how you say her last name? She's coming back. Rosie O'Donnell will be back as well. They all come back. They usually do. The culture of anger, though, like I said, it seems to be everywhere you look. It's embedded into our society. It's embedded into our everyday take of the news, sports, everything, right? It's all over the place. Because whether you've noticed it or not, something has definitely changed. And if it keeps going the way it's going, this quote unquote unhinged isn't just going to stay online. It's going to spill into everything else. And the real question isn't just what's wrong with people lately. It's whether any of us are paying attention to it before it gets even worse. That's the question. And that, my friends, is the Unofficial Breakdown. I appreciate you tuning in and listening to those oh so kind words, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. How down talk to each other? Well, we talk down to each other a lot. We talk down to each other so much so that people tend to just forget like what your words actually really do mean something. You know, if you start spewing out a bunch of filth all the time, you know, people might take you literally. And it says a lot about your character. It says a lot about who you are as an individual, as a person. And that's concerning if somebody is constantly always hateful all the time. And you can't help but wonder to yourself, like, what happened something traumatic must have happened to these people that are so pissed off at the world. And sometimes they call it TDS. Sometimes they call it, you know, they were just born that way. It's Donald Trump's fault. It's usually TDS and Donald Trump's fault. That's That's how it usually turns into. Like, oh, okay, they're blaming it on one other person. But usually, for the most part, there's usually a deeper core issue for folks to sit there and say to yourself, hey, like, what's really going on with yourself? You know, did you have a traumatic childhood? Did something happen to you that's caused you to be so hateful? You know, I don't remember a time where society was so bad like it is now. I really don't. I remember once upon a time that people were a lot more nicer to each other. And it's not just, you know, going to church, because, you know, that's usually where a lot of folks are, that you'll find a lot of nice people. Not always, but that's, in my experience, that's where you find some really good folks, is at church. But if you just go anywhere outside and just watch people. My problem is I can't, like, if I go somewhere, we hear so much about how bad things are getting just in general, that I'm always constantly looking at people. I'm aware of my surroundings. I try not to be like that, but nowadays you see so much chaos and destruction and unhinged individuals. You can't help but to think like, man, like, you know, I need to be careful here. I need to be aware of what's going on around me. And I don't like that. I really don't. I think for me, what started all that for me is you start hearing stories of people tragically just sitting like in a park. Police officers are just sitting in their cruisers. Of all people, police officers sitting in their cruisers, and then somebody comes up and just takes their life for absolutely no reason, you know. And if somebody is quote unquote, if somebody's ballsy enough to just come up to somebody and just take their life, just like that, without a care in the world, with no hesitation whatsoever, to just do something so awful to somebody, you hear it all the time. You hear it all the time. You hear it every single day. Every single day. You really do. So when I'm at the store, or if I'm out and about, or if I'm at, you know, pumping, especially like if I'm pumping gas or something, I'm always looking around. I can't help it. And I think it's just because the news and social media has made it like that for a lot of people, based on all the such negativity you hear all the time. You can't help it, because we are a violent world. We live in a very violent world, especially in America right now. It's very concerning. It's very just, you know, sad. That's all I can say. It's just, you know, how did we get to this point as a society? I really don't know. And then you can't help but to ask yourself, will it get any better? And I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news or anything, but I don't see it getting better anytime soon. I see the world going in a direction that there's no point of return here. Once you get past this checkpoint, I mean, it's downhill from there. There's no coming back. That's what it feels like, because every single year, it gets worse and worse and worse. It really does. It gets worse and worse and worse. And, you know, people blame it on Democrats, will blame it on Republicans, why everything is so shitty. And then Republicans will blame it on Democrats, why things are so shitty. Nowadays, in my opinion, it's just, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. If you're crazy, you're crazy. It doesn't matter what your political beliefs are. If you have a screw loose up there, you know, that's concerning. And, you know, when you sit here and you just look at over the last couple weeks, we've had Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's mother. She went missing. It's been over 5 days now. Has it been like 7 or 8 days for somebody to just come to her home and snatch her and take her away like that? And you ask yourself, like, why? What's the reason for this? And what are you trying to get out of this? Because I can guarantee you, in that sad situation, being as bad as that is, you have to sit there and ask yourself, the people that are actually doing this, you know that you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. You can't get away with anything nowadays. I don't know how. That's why I feel like mental health issue is so bad right now, because people don't care if they can get away with it or not. They just do it. That's why if people are going to do what they do, you can't stop them. You just can't. You can prevent things from happening as best as you can. What do you call that? Risk management. But if people are going to do whatever they do, there's no stopping it. I mean, do you agree with me? You know, it's getting better. We are consolidating as a country. I like to think that we're getting better as a nation. I really do. I'd like to think that way. And the thing about it is, though, you have to ask yourself, especially in a Nancy Guthrie situation, why would somebody do something like this? Like, what possessed you to think that this was going to be something like a good idea? What's causing people to just think like this? Because I can guarantee, especially in the year of 2026, you can't get away with squat. You know, God forbid that something happened to her. You know, we don't know if she's still alive. We don't know. We have absolutely no idea. They keep saying something about her medication. She's without her medication, but I mean, I don't know if she is or not. That story has so many so many questions than they do answers right now. You keep hearing things like, well, they got new letters are coming in, and I think the guy from TMZ, what's his name? Harvey? Harvey, what's his name from TMZ? Help me out. His name's Harvey. What's his last name? Almost said Harvey Dent. He said one of the letters that came through, because I think it was sent to TMZ, if I'm not mistaken. He said that letter that came through did not look like your standard letter that somebody just wrote that didn't have good pronunciation, is that how you say it? Punctuation and commas and periods that they like. He said this was actually coming from somebody who had really good writing skills, that you could tell that just wasn't put together in just several minutes. It took time. And he said you could tell somebody really put some effort into this and really sat down and thought this through. And he said if an English teacher was to check like the grammar and just see if there's any mistakes being made on that letter, he said they probably wouldn't find any. That's how well written the letter was. He said it's very thought out, and it made a lot of made a lot of sense that, there was just no errors, spelling errors or nothing. And it was handwritten. So it wasn't like it was typed out or anything. It was actual handwritten letter that somebody wrote. Now, granted, they probably could have typed something up and checked the spelling or whatever. You never know. You just never know. But it was handwritten. But the point of all this is, like, what possessed somebody to actually go in there and take her mother and kidnap her and hold her for ransom, And a lot of the time people say, well, she was a high profile, did they know that her daughter was on the Today Show, so one of the news anchors on the Today Show? Did they know that? I'm going to say, yeah, they did. And if they didn't, they know now. But you still have to just kind of sit back and just watch this thing unfold. And you're like, man, what are these people doing, man? Like, what's going on up here? You know, what is the problem? Because you're not going to get away with it. There's absolutely no way that these people are just going to be able to say, you know, well, here's Nancy back. Thanks for paying me. You know, there's no way. They're going to look for you. They're going to find you, and eventually justice will prevail in that case. You can't get away with shit. You can't get away with shit nowadays. And people just think they could just do whatever they want. That's why you have to question their mentality. Like, whoa, wait a minute. What is going on? So that goes in hand in what we just discussed a little bit ago. Why is everybody so angry and triggered all the time? And it goes hand in hand with what's happening in Minneapolis too. You had Don Lemonhead, Don Lemon, Don the dummy, Don Lemon from ex-CNN anchor, trying to stay relevant within the news industry right now, because that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to stay relevant. That's why he does. That's why he's, you know, being looked at the way he was right now because of the dumbness that he did, going into that church, you know, breaking laws. You broke the FACE Act and went in there and stuck a microphone in the preacher's face and tried to get a reaction out of him. And then he felt like the preacher was a little too shovey. He's like, dude, please don't shove me. Don't shove me. I'm like, dude, you got a lot more shit coming your way than worrying about somebody shoving you right now. And people will say that he didn't break any laws and all this stuff. And in my opinion, yeah, I think he probably did. I'm no lawyer. I have no idea, you know, what lawyers look at in situations like that, especially when it comes to like journalists and what their rights are and things. But, you know, the FACE Act is pretty clear. You know, you can't just waltz into private property, you know, abortion clinics and places of worship that's in there, and just go on private property and start protesting. You can't do that. Now, had he stayed on the sidewalk, you know, he probably would have been fine. Obviously, that's public property right there is a sidewalk. Anybody could be on the sidewalk. But when you go on somebody else's, you know, private property and you start protesting and doing all those things, that's when it becomes an issue. And he's claiming he didn't do anything wrong and all this other stuff. And, you know, I'm just waiting to see how this unfolds and what happens in the future here, because I can guarantee you that things are probably going to not really turn out the way that he thinks it will, unless you have a liberal judge that just throws it out. But again, it goes hand in hand. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Are you a MAGA? Mr. Baldy MAGA? Are you saying that because I don't have any hair on my head? I choose to shave my head. Am I Make America Great Again? I am pro-Republican. I voted for Donald Trump. I am for making America great. So if you want to say, yeah, I'm MAGA, sure. Why not? What gave it away? The flag in the background? This thing? Did that give it away? Yeah, it usually does. I thought it was going to be my personality, but I guess it's the flag behind me. Maybe that did it. I don't know. But yes, I am 100% conservative Republican all the way. Not saying anything bad about Democrats, but well, if I had to say anything bad about Democrats have lost their way. They really have. I'm sorry. If you're a Democrat, I respect you as for your political beliefs. We can agree to disagree. That's fine. But Democrats now, especially nowadays, oh shit. I don't know. Something happened to Dems nowadays. I mean, I'm not the only one that thinks that way too. Chuck Norris. I mean, there's a video about Chuck Norris out there. Hello, fellow ICE agent. I bet you'd say that ICE isn't, I bet you would say that ICE is not law enforcement either too, would you? You'd probably say that. Super ultra mega power. Yes. There's nothing wrong with making anything great. There's nothing wrong with that, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing wrong with making anything great. And if the term MAGA triggers you, it's because you hate Donald Trump. That's it. That's all it is. I mean, and most of the time people that hate Donald Trump couldn't even tell you why they hate Donald Trump. They have no valid excuse as to why they hate Donald Trump. Now, if I sat there and I told you I can't stand Joe Biden, and I'd be able to tell you, well, why can't you stand Joe Biden? I would tell you, well, because he was disastrous on the American border. And that's a fact. He was disastrous. Allowing millions of illegal aliens to pour into our country. That's disastrous for our nation. That's disastrous for our economy. And for people to make more money and get raises and find jobs and to, you know, it puts a huge burden on our financial system, and it causes a lot of just bad things because you can't do that in other countries. You just can't. You cannot. Countries don't open their borders the way we did under Biden administration. There's no way. There's like the world watched that happen and they went, whoa, what are you guys doing? That is insane. Let's send our criminals to the border, because you had every Tom, Dick, and Harry from all over the world coming across this border. You have people from China. You have people from Iraq, Saudi Arabia, all over the world, Afghanistan. You had terrorists that were on the most wanted list that were coming across the border, I believe. You had everybody from all over the world coming here because they were able to, because they could, because Joe Biden allowed it to happen. If I had to pick the biggest quote unquote fuck up from that administration, that was it. And people can't figure out why he did that. I really don't understand the reasoning behind that. I really don't know what he was, again, what's going on up here? You know, why would they do something so crazy like that? Would you allow yourself to open up your borders around your property for just allow anybody to come into your place? Would you do that? Would you do that? Billie Eilish thinks that we're nobody is illegal on stolen land. That backfired, didn't it? That backfired. That was one of the other things I was going to talk about. Her quote of saying that nobody is illegal on stolen land. Are you insane? Put your money where your mouth is then. Show us that you're serious about your little statement there at the Oscars, Miss $100 million net worth. Tell us how you really feel. I really don't know what her net worth is. I think it's like around $100+ million. It's insane. It's a lot. And her mansion in California is like $4 million+. Do you live in a $4 million mansion in California or anywhere in the world? Not in the world, United States. You have a $4 million mansion that is on stolen land. If you agree with that, you should probably give it back to the Native Americans who were there before you. Give it back. She ain't giving nothing back. She ain't allowing anybody to come onto her property and just set up shop. Because I can guarantee you, not just her, but any celebrity in Beverly Hills, Malibu, Hollywood, and on 90210 that has a business, a home, anywhere in that part of the United States, they are not going to allow anybody on their property. They're not going to invite any illegals to come into their home. They're not going to allow anyone to just set up shop on the near their driveway and camp out and all this other stuff. They are not going to do that. They are not going to like any of that shit. So for them to stand up there and say what they say, it's all political because they hate Donald Trump. That's the only reason why. That's it. That's it. And if you think we are living on stolen land, give it back. Just give it back. What's stopping you from giving your home back to the native tribe, especially Billie Eilish? I think it's the Tongva. Is that how you say it? Tongva? Tongva. Tongva tribe. I think that's the name of the native tribe there that own that's the land that they were on as a Native American. Why won't you give it back? That's the whole irony in this. That's why people are so pissed at her, is because of that. You would not in a million years give your property back to anybody because it's yours. You bought it. It's paid for. It's yours. It belongs to you. Nobody would ever give their property away back to the Native American. No, nobody would. I'm sorry. If you do, it's because you're donating it back. That's it. If you paid millions of dollars, not even millions of dollars, if you paid for your property, your home that you live in right now, that at once upon a time was ran by Native Americans, lived on that land, hunted on that land, gathered on that land. Obviously, we're here way before any of us were. If you were passionate enough and really cared and you meant what you said, that's why you can't take any, especially celebrities. Don't listen to celebrities. Don't listen to them. They were the most out of touch fucking people on the planet. Don't ever listen to people like that. They are not going to do you any favors, and they're full of shit most of the time. And for them to make for her to make such a shit statement like that, I mean, if you really believe that, then give your property back to them. Donate it. Just donate it. But she's not going to do that because she's like, no, I'm not giving back my $4 million house. Are you insane? No, even though it's on stolen land, I'm not going to do that. So that just goes hand in hand. What the hell are you thinking? What possessed you to say such crazy shit like that? It goes back to what we were talking about. How did we get here as a society? I don't ever remember a celebrity or anybody putting themselves in front of a microphone and a camera and talking about how we're living on stolen land. 10, 20 years ago, that people didn't say that. You didn't hear about that stuff. And that goes back to also what I said, that the culture of anger seems to be everywhere you look. The Oscars was a perfect example of that. Everybody at the Oscars was so, it wasn't the Oscars. It was a political shit show. And Trevor Noah saying a lot of the stuff that he was saying too, it was despicable in my opinion. And I think I saw something online about Denzel Washington supposedly said, or not Denzel. Was it Denzel? Hold on, let me think for a second. No, not Denzel. I'm sorry, it wasn't him. I saw something about Sylvester Stallone supposedly said he couldn't even watch it because it wasn't about the Oscars. It was about politics. And I suppose, I don't know how true this is, and I wouldn't doubt it because I know that he's not like your other celebrities out there, guys. He's just not. Sly, all right, Sly, Rocky. Huge Sylvester Stallone fan. He's a Trump supporter too. A lot of people don't know. Well, you should know that he's been around Donald Trump for years. I think he likes Donald Trump and he's a Trump supporter. I think he's a conservative Republican too. It's noted that he mentioned something. I don't know how true that is, but just about how it's not the Oscars. It wasn't the Oscars. It wasn't about what the meaning of the Oscars was supposed to mean. It was more about political shit. And he said he couldn't watch it. It was unwatchable. I think he may have mentioned something about Trevor Noah, and was a terrible host. So again, you have to look at it and go, why are you so insane? And the Oscars are supposed to be for celebrities to go there and tap each other on the back and say good job. And it was anything but. Everybody got their five minutes of worldwide attention, and they made it about, instead of making it about what it was supposed to be for, recognizing themselves as a actor and thanking the fans and thanking the director and the producer and then just all this other stuff. No, that's not what it came out to be. It got overshadowed by a bunch of Trump-hating multimillionaires that think that we're living on stolen land. And then you have Bad Bunny out there. I don't even know who the fuck Bad Bunny is. I have no idea who this guy. He was so like not in my radar of people that I should probably pay attention to, and he still isn't. He was only relevant to me when he was at the Oscars and he said what he said. I'm like, that's the guy that's going to be at the Super Bowl, right? I knew that he was going to be at the Super Bowl. I was like, that's the same guy. And he said, yeah, that's Bad Bunny. I didn't even know what the dude looked like. I was like, oh, that's Bad Bunny? This is the good dude we're going to see tomorrow on the Super Bowl? This guy? And he said, all I'm going to say is ice out. And I was just like, okay, just, that was at the Grammys. Like, just sit there and just accept the Grammy and move on. Did I say the Oscars? I meant was it no. This is the Grammys with Bad Bunny. That's when he came out and he said what he said. And then I remembered, I was like, this guy is going to be at the Super Bowl tomorrow. And he's going to go out there. Now I've been hearing some things here and there. I don't know how true this is, but I'm pretty sure it's up there as far as its authenticity goes. That this guy is going to come out in a dress. If he comes out in a dress tomorrow at the Super Bowl, that's America's game right there, right? This is tomorrow's like the biggest day in sports tomorrow. Not just in America, but all over the world. And for him to come out there, if he comes out in a dress, I'm telling you that people will lose their minds. People will lose their shit. And families that are going to watch this game tomorrow do not want to watch this game and have it become a political shit show at the halftime. The halftime show is supposed to be the best part of the Super Bowl, along with the commercials, right? The halftime show and commercials are like the best part of the game. Obviously, the game itself, who the two teams are, which is Seattle Seahawks and the holy crap, I just had it on my tongue. Seattle Seahawks. Who's the other one? See, this is like the one Super Bowl I could care less over. Patriots. I just like, I'm a Steelers fan, guys. Like, if the Steelers don't go to Super Bowl and I'm like a couple other teams I might be interested, I could care less who goes. So the Seahawks and the Patriots, and it's probably going to be the least watched Super Bowl. That's my prediction. It's going to be the least watched Super Bowl that we've ever had or ever watched. And if Bad Bunny comes out there tomorrow and starts being political, them and Green Day, I don't know what the fuck happened to Green Day, man. Like, Green Day was such a huge part of my childhood growing up. You know, when I was in middle school, high school, like Green Day is like one of the big, they were like my go-to punk rock band. One of them. And then somewhere along the way, they got political. Right when Donald Trump, oh, go figure, right when Trump became president, they got all political and shit. And they're going to come out there, and I have no doubt in my mind they're going to be saying something political or change something in their lyrics to become political. They're going to mention something about ICE. I wouldn't doubt it if they did that. They'll probably mention something about, this nation is, we have a racist president in the White House, or they're going to do something or say something that's going to be political. And all that's going to do is cause people to pick up the remote control and change the channel. And they're not going to want anything to do with the Super Bowl. Like, I'm done. I was cool until halftime came, and then this guy comes out and starts saying some shit. Bad Bunny starts saying some shit. Billy Joe Armstrong starts saying some shit. And then that's when people are going to be like, fuck this, I'm turning the channel. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. In my opinion, people are going to lose their minds, especially if he comes out in a dress. Listen, if you want to get dressed up in a dress and do whatever, that's fine. It's America. You can do whatever you want. But people are not tuning in to the biggest sporting event in the world to watch you jump around in a dress and be political. They're just not. People are going to lose. Bubba the Love Sponge even said this too. He's like, people will lose their minds. If I was Roger Goodell, I would pull this guy to the side, pull them all to the side. I say, listen, whatever your political beliefs are, do not display that at the halftime show. That's all I say. Don't say anything about the president. Don't say anything about ICE. Don't say anything about what's happening in Minneapolis. Don't say anything. Don't say anything about Tom Holman. Nothing. Don't do it. You do whatever else you want. Don't be political. Just don't do it. But that's not what's going to happen, guys. I'm telling you, something is going to happen at the halftime show. And the sad thing about it is, here's what's going to happen. The halftime show, when that happens, more and more, leading up to that, I think more and more people are going to tune in to the halftime show to see what's going to happen, because there's so much hype around Bad Bunny and him at the Grammys saying what he said, and people are just going to be like, is this guy going to come out and say that too tomorrow? And now that he's got the main stage is all about him. And Green Day, they're going to use it to their advantage, and they're going to get political. I'm telling you, it's happening, guys. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So don't be surprised if you see that tomorrow. In my opinion, it's going to be the worst watched Super Bowl we've ever had, ever, because you got two teams. You got the New England Patriots, who have won literally 6 Super Bowls with Tom Brady, and they're going back. It just felt like they were just there like 4 years ago. I think they were, actually. It felt like that team was just there. The Seahawks, it's a boring team. The Seattle Seahawks to me are boring. Now, granted, they haven't been to a Super Bowl since like 2018, 2017, something like that. I think it was with Russell Wilson. Richard Sherman was there. Yeah, I think it was like the late 2000s, like was, early, like going into 2018, something like that. Anyway, that was the last time, but they're not an exciting team. They're just not. You got two teams that just aren't that. I mean, if you're a Patriots fan, that's fine. I'm a Steelers fan. If you're a Seahawks fan, that's fine. Just for me, I just feel like it's just not. It's kind of boring, but whatever. We'll still watch it. But I'm telling you right now, if the halftime, we'll probably turn off the halftime show and just go watch Kid Rock, because Kid Rock's having his own halftime show. He's going to. You want to call into the chat? Call it, yeah. Call in to the hotline 1-877. Yeah. Caller number 2, you are on the air. What's your question? I thought about I thought about maybe once upon a time, maybe we can set up like a hey, call this number if you want to chat with me. I thought about maybe when we reach like 100,000 subs, if that ever becomes a thing one day, maybe we'll open up the phone lines You know what I mean? Like, if that's even a thing, I'm pretty sure you can. There's probably a way to do it. I don't know if you can or not, but that would be kind of cool. Set up like a dedicated phone line, for stuff like that. I thought about setting up an email in the future. If you guys want to send me hate mail or just mail, emails and stuff, I'd probably get more hate mail than anything else. I would read your comments on the next live stream. Good or bad, I would read your comments. So you'd email me some hate mail and I would read it on the next live stream just to kind of have fun with it. Whatever, And maybe I hate unofficiallyimo.com or something like that. I don't know. Or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be kind of fun. That'd be entertaining in a way. Yeah. Steelers Nation, Black Bowling, Steelers Nation, yeah. 100%. The offender or the offended? Who would you rather recruit? I'm not really sure if I understand the question there, Bruce Wayne. I'm saying, though, there's always going to be some racist or some hate or some crap, but then there's always the offended. Yeah, I don't hate on anybody. I think I don't defend anybody either. You can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. That's the beauty part about living in this country. If you want to, if you want to go out and, I mean, for crying out loud, you can have emotional support animal, a peacock as your emotional support animal on an airplane sometimes. And people carry that. I think that's nuts. But I mean, that's like the only places I think you could do that, like shit like that. Right. But I respect everybody's opinion. I don't defend anybody. Everybody's going to do whatever they want to do in their own way, their own right. And that's just, that's just how the nature of the beast about living here. You can do whatever you want. I will not defend crazy though. I will not defend law breaking, lawlessness throughout this country. I just won't do it. No, not going to do it. If you're being a complete fucking dumbass, then no, I won't defend that. I'll probably make fun of you. And then hopefully you learn from your mistakes and grow from it and, become a better person. I wish that for you. But if you're going to be a complete total idiot, then no, that's on you. That is on you. So for the most part, and again, anytime I come on here and I shoot the shit and talk about whatever usually I have like other content to discuss, but I felt like today was one of those live streams where I felt like talking about the mental illness that this country has right now is so concerning and it's causing people to hate one another for no reason of their own. Like if I was to tell somebody that, are you a Democrat or a Republican? I'm like, what does that mean? Well, why does that mean anything? How about you ask me that question once you get to know me as a person? And then if you want to ask me that, then I'll tell you. There's a reason why most people don't chat about their political beliefs to other people is because it causes people to argue. But for someone like me, if you're a Democrat, you're a Democrat. If, as long as you respect me being a Republican, then that's fine. I know a couple people that are diehard Trump haters. They just hate Donald Trump for various reasons, but we can still agree to disagree. And we don't hate each other for it. Right? But then you have other folks that, oh, you're a Republican? I can't associate with you. I'm sorry. You're nuts. You're a homophobe or a xenophobe or you're a racist. You're all these different things, right? And that's the unfortunate part. That's where the road has led to nowadays. Oh, you're a Republican? I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. Sorry. Can't do it. I can't talk to you. I can't reason with you. I can't acknowledge your presence. I can't do anything. You're dead to me. That's the mentality that we have. It really is. That's the culture we live in right now. And that's the sad part about the whole entire thing. I don't know who Gay Boners is. What racist actions are happening and where? Democrats call people racist all the time. I understand racism, such as videos and words. I see successful people wary of walk of life. So why would words matter? Nowadays, words don't matter to most people. And then other times, words do matter. Actually, no, I take that back. Words do matter. Words matter to, it just depends on who you're talking to. You know, if you say some off the wall, crazy, hateful shit to me, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. You know, but if what I'm saying is if your words do matter to some people, it matters to your place of employment. You can't go talk to your boss the way you might talk to someone like me. You might hate your boss for whatever reason, but you're not going to talk to them and call them all these hurtful things and all this crazy shit, right? No, it gets you fired. You're not going to go out there and make yourself look like a fool in front of the entire world on national television. If you have, if you're sane, you're not going to go out there and make yourself look stupid because you don't want your life to get turned upside down. You know, you're not going to go say something crazy to somebody. That whole thing of saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all kind of a thing. You know, that's true to a certain extent, but sometimes people need to hear stuff, you know, and I've come to realize for the majority of my life, especially growing up and especially nowadays, that the truth hurts and nobody wants to hear the truth. And, that's just how it is, right? That's just how it is. America doesn't teach creationism. And what's creationism mean? What does that mean? America leads the world in all respects. America leads in everything. So I agree with that. America leads the world in everything. Everything. We might be trillions of dollars in debt, but we are still the best country on the planet. That's why everybody wanted to come here when the borders got opened up. You don't see people flocking to the borders of Russia, do you? No. Hell no. You don't see people bombarding the borders of Afghanistan, do you? No. You didn't see people rushing from South Korea going to rushing the borders in North Korea, especially there. No. You didn't see that. You didn't see people rushing any border in Europe, anywhere. Germany, Italy, France, none of those countries. You saw none of that there. Nobody ever does that. But they did it here. And the reason why people rushed this border when the border was open is because they knew that if they came here, that they would have a much better life. The people that meant well, that wanted to come here, rush that border. And instead of sitting there telling themselves, hey, this is, if I come across this American border, they obviously didn't know that Joe Biden was only going to be here for a minimum of 8 years or a maximum of 8 years. Okay. I bet you a lot of people didn't understand how that worked. And they should have known that the most pro-American president that we have ever seen in this country, in my lifetime, I should say, that was going to run for president again. And if he got into the country, like, you guys were fucked. He was going to literally make you guys leave. Like, they did. Obviously, they weren't thinking that. They were just thinking, hey, there's an opportunity to come into the country and I could just disappear in America someplace. Well, that's not happening right now. And when was it? When were people okay with having illegal aliens just chilling in this country, and just thinking that it was okay for them to just hang out here? Since when was that? Since when was that okay? It's never been an issue until Donald Trump got in office. Ever. Never been a problem. Never. You didn't hear about it until Donald Trump got in office, and all he did was just ramp up the the laws of the land, especially on the borders. And then people all of a sudden started sticking up for criminals. That's where, again, it goes back to, what are people thinking, man? Why are people so crazy? What part of your brain said that was cool to just allow every Tom, Dick, and Harry to come across the border and just hang out here in the country? No, because you wouldn't like it if someone tried to rush into your property. You wouldn't like that shit. You wouldn't like it if I came to your house and just tried to rush into your house and just hung out on your property and just did whatever I wanted. No, you wouldn't want that. Especially if somebody was a criminal, a diehard criminal. You wouldn't want that. Nobody does. So for them to come out and say what they say, it's mental health at the highest levels of concern. It really is. So you have to sit there and think to yourself, like, man, where are we heading as a nation? And until we start really start enforcing our laws, which we're start enforcing our laws and start holding people accountable for their actions, which we are, that's when people will tend to say, okay, yeah, I should probably stop. But the more you start being unhinged and crazy, then it just feels like it's never going to change, regardless of whoever the president is. So it's going to come down to, because I wanted to say, is there a solution to our problem? Yes, there is. Throw people in jail that should be in jail. That's the first thing. If you're breaking laws, if you're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, you should be held accountable for that, and you should go to jail. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is, it depends on who the president of the United States is. It depends on who's in charge. That's a huge thing too, because you can go from one state to another, and depending upon who the governor is and who the mayor is and who's in charge, what their laws are there. I mean, that really makes a difference. That's why people go to sanctuary cities. That's why everybody goes to Minneapolis. That's why people flock to LA. That's where, because they're like, oh, it's a sanctuary city, we'll just go there. Remember when we were busing people to sanctuary cities? We bused people to Martha's Island or Martha's Vineyard. Do you remember that a couple of years ago? Or like a year ago, we started busing people to Martha's Vineyard, and the people, the wealthy people on Martha's Vineyard were like pissed off about that because we were dumping illegal aliens in their city, and they were fucking mad. Remember that? You remember that? The same people that were fine with people bum rushing the border, as long as they don't come to my neck of the woods, I don't care. Go, you can't come here, but you can go. You can go anywhere else, but don't come to our city. Don't bring these people here. Send them to California or something. You guys remember that shit? I do. I remember that when we were busing people left and right to all these different sanctuary cities, especially Martha's Vineyard. People lost their mind. I thought it was hilarious because there's the same group of people that were okay with open borders. Like, oh, but are you a sanctuary city? Well, let me just bust you there. If you're a sanctuary city, that's where we're going to send these people. You could deal with them. And they lost their minds. I thought it was the funniest shit ever, man. It was funny. The same people were talking all this smack about stolen land and illegals, have rights, and, it's the Constitution, this and that. And, they have all the right of being here, and we're all immigrants and all this other stuff and whatever else, right? But the minute they started bringing people to their cities, they lost their mind. They lost their minds. I thought it was funny. You live in California, please don't. California is another state that has a lot of problems. A lot of crime, just a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of homelessness, and more so in the greater Los Angeles areas where the issues are at. And it's just, it all comes down to who's in charge, and, if they allow the chaos to continue, that's what you're going to get. Just like in New York City, when the schools were closed like 2 weeks ago because they had that bad snow, all that bad snow and cold weather. Mom Dami, like all the trash piled up all over the fucking curb and nobody was picking it up because they couldn't, because the snow was like piled 8 feet high and nobody had the ability to get a dump truck in there to get all the trash. So the trash ended up becoming pyramids of just garbage everywhere. And it's still a thing to this day. You see it on the news all the time. Like, and then nobody came to collect it because they couldn't. So there's just trash everywhere. And it's like, you guys wanted that, right? And I don't think they've ever had that problem within the last several years or whatever, however long that's, I don't know if that's ever been an issue where the garbage trucks didn't run, but there's just trash all over the streets of Manhattan. It's crazy. But I mean, again, that's what people voted for. And the whole thing of voting has consequences. If you vote for crazy, that's what you're going to get. If you vote for socialism, that's what you're going to get. If you're going to vote for communism, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get everything that comes with it. So if that's part of Mondami's plan to allow trash to pile up because he doesn't want to clear the snow out of the way for whatever reason, that's fine. Could you imagine if it was summertime in New York City with that trash piling like 10 feet high? Could you imagine? Could you imagine like the stench that would be coming out of that city because of the trash piling up? I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine the smell, the rats, the rodent issue that New York City already has. They have like a rat, I think they have like a bad rat problem there. It would be like 10 times worse. And if it was in the middle of summer, I mean, the smell would just cause me to just literally just die. I can only imagine. And it's just, yeah, it's not a good situation for them. But again, is the trash going to stay there forever? I doubt it. But it's like, why didn't you pick it up to begin with? Why? Because the snow's there? Clear the snow. Don't you have city workers that can go out there and clear that? Why haven't you done that yet? It's, again, that's what people wanted. That's what you voted for. Unless you're okay with that. If you're cool with it, that's fine. What are your thoughts on LGBTQ? My thoughts on the LGBT community. What do you mean? What are my thoughts on it? What do you want to know? Are you a part of it? You mean if I'm against the LGBTQ community? No, I'm not against them. There's a time and place during the Biden administration. It was, I have my own thought process on the stuff that was happening within our schools and stuff like that. All the stuff, all the, like the books and in the libraries and the schools and things that shouldn't be there. That was awful. I have no problem with anybody that's part of that community. That's your business. It's not mine. If you come out and do things that make it my concern, within the schools and especially at the White House, when they were doing stuff at the White House with all that stuff, I didn't like that at all. But if you want to go and do those things, that's totally fine. I have no problem with that. Whatever. That's your business, not mine. Just keep, the thing I don't like is when they try to force change on people. You can't force anybody to change or like anything. You just can't. That's not how this country works. So if you can't force me to accept something that I don't agree with. As long as you're not trying to do that, I don't care. Do whatever you want. That's between you and you. It's between you and you. I have no problem with that community. None. Just stop. Just anything in general. Don't force change on people that don't want it. That's it. That goes with anything. If you're a pro Second Amendment gun owner, just because somebody doesn't like guns and they want it, like when Beto O'Rourke was running for president. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but he sat up there. The reason why he lost and he had to step down from the election is because he said, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15s, your AK-47s and all this other shit. The minute he said that, that caused a lot of people to go, oh, no. No, you're not. You're not going to, no, not in this fucking country. You're not going to force anybody to do anything. You're not going to come after nothing, especially my guns. I mean, those were the pro Second Amendment people out there saying the fuck you will. You're not going to take anything. You can't just force people. First of all, you know how dangerous that is? You know how dangerous it would be to just force lawful gun owners to give up their guns? Like, are you asking for a civil war? I think you are in that sense. Like, that would be the dumbest shit ever. And no law enforcement or military, they'd be like, I'm not forcing anybody to give up anything like that. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to die here. I'm not trying to get shot. I'm good. He's like, no, we're good here, man. We're good. But for the most part, no. I am. This is America, man. You can do whatever you want. You can say this is the beauty part about living here. Especially being a part. If you're part of that community, the LGBTQ community, it's because you're allowed to be, because this country allows you to be part of things like that. You go to North Korea? No. That doesn't exist. You go to Afghanistan? No. That doesn't exist there. You go to Iraq? No. You can't be those things there. You go to China? No. I'm pretty sure that's a big no-no there too. So that just goes to show you that people take this country for granted for stuff like that. Like, I'm allowed to sit here and say the things that I say and disagree with people all I want, because I'm allowed to. If you go to North Korea and try to do me doing what I'm doing here right now, you'd be thrown in jail. You'd be thrown in jail very quickly, very fast. Like, the right to due process and everybody has rights and stuff like that doesn't exist in so many countries, man. And people take that for granted. And it's really like, nobody ever sits back and says, fuck, man, like, we live in the best fucking country in the world, man. We really do. We really do. I can go and do whatever I want anytime I want. I can start a podcast. I can go start a career as a, brain surgeon and make millions of dollars and live in multi-million-dollar homes and own property and become a cattle rancher. And, I can play sports. I can do all these different things, and I can come and go freely travel anywhere I want to within this great country. And, I can do so many different things that there's so many other places in this planet that you just cannot get away with. The most simplest stuff, right? That people just take for granted. And nobody thinks about any of it when they do it. Like, just being able to get up out of bed in the morning in your own place and put on your own clothes that you bought and take a shower and clean water and, have a swimming pool in your backyard, a hot tub, or, have land and own cattle and own just anything, and have a nice car and have a nice income and just go wherever you want to go and eat what you want to eat. I mean, we have like the most incredible resources and freedom and the ability to be wealthy and have all these great opportunities. That's why everybody wants to come here. That's why, nobody's in a hurry to go to Italy. I'm not. It's a great place. I'd love to visit there one day, but I don't want to live anywhere else, because I know that if I go someplace else, I probably can't do the things that I do here now. Most likely I wouldn't be able to anywhere else. I know that. I know that for a fact. So I don't take anything for granted here. I am very appreciative of the things that I do have. And thank God every single day for me to be able to just get out of bed in the morning and have a career and then come here and do these things. Because I generally enjoy doing this. I think it's fun to me. I have fun doing it. I have fun giving my opinion on things. I think it's a great opportunity for me to just, do the things that I want to do and actually try to make a living off of it. Like there's so many places in the world that you just can't do that. You know what I mean? Fuck. There's no other better place in the world. You won the lottery by being born here. I've said that in previous live streams. You won the lottery, baby. You really did. You really, really did. And there's so many people, man, that just take that for granted. So many people. So many people. Look at the people putting roadblocks in Minneapolis. So law enforcement, ICE, more so anything. The ICE agents they were literally stopping people like checkpoints and telling people like, hey, are you ICE? Asking people if they're part of ICE and like putting blockades up in the middle of the street. You guys see that? Like you can't do that in other countries. You can't even do that here. But because I think that's illegal. I'm pretty sure it's illegal. You can't just block traffic, You just can't stop traffic because you're protesting and put up roadblocks and shit. Pretty sure that's illegal. But you can't go anywhere else in the world and do that shit. You get thrown in jail. You get thrown in prison and you just can't do it. So that's why, whether I agree with what people do or not, they're still allowed to do it. Like tomorrow's Super Bowl. Do I agree with Bad Bunny coming out there and being a part of that, the Super Bowl halftime? No. Do I think Green Day was a great option for that too? No. I would have chosen, if it was me, I would have chosen somebody else. I don't think they were a good fit because they're just going to be political. I already know that. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. It's going to just piss everybody off. I'm almost 100% sure that it's going to be some sort of political message in there somewhere. But again, it's America, Jack. You can do that. You can do it. You do whatever you want, man. But are people going to agree with it? No. And it might hurt you. Probably. Yeah. At some point. Yeah. It'll probably hurt you financially in your pocketbook if you allow that shit to happen at the Super Bowl. People are just going to turn it off. Because I watch the Super Bowl to watch football. I don't watch it. I'm not watching a political debate. It's the NFL, man. Not a presidential election. Leave politics out of sports. That's another thing too. There's so many fucking politics in sports. It's like stop. Like knock it off, man. I don't care. And you see it all the time, and it's unfortunate. Ladies and gentlemen, always remember that you live in the greatest country in the world. Don't take that for granted. Really don't. I don't care if it's from brushing your teeth to taking a shower, to being able to put your own shoes on and have shoelaces to tie your shoes, to having clothes on your back, food on the table. Don't take it for granted, because the reason why you're able to do that is because you live in the greatest country in the world, because so many people out there that don't have the luxury of being in a country that does care about us as a nation. It might not seem like it at times, but always remember that we wouldn't have this type of life someplace else because we wouldn't be allowed to. So I am so grateful to be able to say I was born in the USA. And with that being said, that is all I have on my plate here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and call it right there, guys. Maybe one day I'll come back and have a Q&A with you guys. And kind of look at, I mean, I didn't get a chance to answer all your guys' questions here tonight. It's just kind of my thought process. I'm trying to focus on what I'm saying. If I see y'all in the chat trying to talk to me, I'll lose my train of thought. And it's not because I don't want to chat with you guys. It's just because I'm trying to focus on what I'm trying to do here. But we'll have a Q&A session. I'll chit chat with you guys a lot more in the future. Be sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, guys. Come on, dude. Help this channel grow. Get us out there to a much larger audience. So if you haven't done so already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications so you don't miss any time I go live or upload a video. I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow. I think if I have to choose a team, it's going to be the Seahawks. I would much rather say the Steelers. Almost, but not quite. Almost. Kind of almost, but yeah, it is what it is. So go Seahawks. I'll just say that. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. We'll see you all on the next live stream. I'm out of here. Peace.